Hello everyone, welcome to a surprisingly highly requested video. I didn't understand the appeal and then I watched a bunch of them, and even though we've already settled on a name, there's something very satisfying about hearing people say nice names and things. I'm going to talk to you about some beautiful baby names that I love and maybe will use someday. They're not this baby's name, but maybe someday. There are others as well on my list, but I just chose a nice little slice. There are way more girls' names than boys. I think I have 3 boys' names and about 7 girls' ones. I really struggle with boys' names. I struggle to think of masculine names that I feel like sound right for a tiny baby, a boy, and a grown man and an old man. With masculine names, I feel like they give me much more of like a specific age vibes. I don't know, maybe it's just me. A few people have had guesses at the kinds of names they think we're gonna name our daughter, and most of the guesses have been quite sort of modern. I actually really love vintage, biblical, traditional kind of names, as well as romantic, flowing, melodic sort of names. Let's just get straight into it and I'll show you what I mean. So the first one on the list is a girl's name and it is Juliette. Juliette spelt with the E-double-T on the end. I really love names with E-double-T on the end. There's something about them to me that feels very like fairy tale and princessy and regal, and kind of similar to Juliette. And possible nicknames for a Juliette that I like are Julia and Julie, especially Julia. Julia was at the top of my girls' names list for a long time. I just think it's so pretty, and maybe because of July it feels like summery and bright. Next is a boy's name that I love, and it was the easiest name for me to think of that I liked for a boy, and that is Charlie. Charlie for me, I know this is going to sound weird, but this is the overwhelming feeling I get. I'm a visual person, okay? When I have feelings, I explain it in a visual way. For me, Charlie is a big cuddly golden retriever. It can be unisex, obviously. I really like the spelling with the L-E-Y on the end. There's something about it for me that feels really warm and loving and gentle. Charlie, it just feels like cozy and homey. I really like that name. Next, another girl's name, and that is Jmogen. There's going to be lots of weird descriptions of how these names make me feel. Jmogen to me feels whispery. I see like soft smoke and like it just sounds like mystical in a way. It also feels very floral to me, but that might be because my wedding florist was called Imogen. So now it's just really flowery to me, and it sounds like Imagine, which is kind of cool. And I just think it's pleasing to say. I love the way it looks written down as well. Imogen. It's pretty. Next boy's name is Theodore / Ted or Teddy. I really like Teddy. I went to school with a Teddy and I thought it was really cool. Personally, I would officially give them the full Theodore, and you have quite a few options for shortening it. You could use Theo as well as Ted and Teddy. The main thing that puts me off this name right now is I feel like in my circle I know of quite a lot of babies that have been born that are called Theodore, Ted or Teddy lately. There's been quite a few, and I know that's stupid to take a name off the table, but my brain has like made that connection that this person's child is Theodore, and that's just what I think of when I think of that name now. Oh shit. I wasn't ready for my Sainsbury's delivery just yet. I'm back. I'm out of breath. The next girl's name is Olive. I absolutely love this name. I think it's so beautiful and it gives me real old lady vibes in the best way possible. I had an Olive in my family. She was my second great aunt. She was born in London in the 1920s, so maybe for me that's why it really feels like vintage and sweet and botanical and pretty. I just think it's such a lovely name, and I love olives. They're very yummy. The last boy's name on my list, and the one that was at the top of our list if we had a boy for quite a while, is Joel. This mostly is inspired by Joel from The Last of Us, because I love that character and I love that game, and I think it's a really nice name. I just think it's really beautiful. I think it looks lovely written down. I think it rolls off the tongue nicely. Joel. The next girl's name is Odette. Another name with E-double-T on the end. This one gives me major princessy vibes. I've loved this name ever since I repeatedly watched The Swan Princess as a little kid. Her dress might be my favourite princess dress ever. It's simple, but the sleeves and the colour scheme with her fabulous hair and the locket, I mean, she's slightly a style icon for me. It sounds regal and majestic, but at the same time, I don't think it's super formal and super out there. It still just sounds pretty and quite simple, really. Odette. Odette. It's nice to say. The next name is Delilah. This name is one of the most like melodic for me. It just sounds so pretty and it's so nice to say, Delilah. I really like names with L's in. I think L often adds quite a melodic, romantic sort of feeling to a word. I just really love the sort of tune of this name, if you know what I mean. And I really like names with that AH sound on the end, but I can't really think of any others. But I love that sound, Delilah. The next name is Mary, which used to be very, very common, and I feel like it might be coming back. Maybe it became less common because it was such a common biblical traditional name and had those old lady vibes. Again, I love old lady vibes. This was a really, really strong contender for me for a while before I was pregnant. I realised that for us, it just doesn't flow with our surname very well. I think it's a very underrated name. It's really simple and pretty. I think these days it would be a much more unique name to give your child, because I don't know any Marys in real life, but it's a really pretty name. The last name on my list is Violet. Again, I had a second great aunt that was a Violet, so for me it gives me lovely vintage old lady vibes, sweet and botanical, and it's a gorgeous colour, so win-win. And again, I just feel like it's really pleasing to say. It's got a really nice tune to the word. I hope you know what I mean by tune to it, like the melodic, the way the word flows. Violet, Violet. It's just really nice and pretty. So that's all the names that I'm going to share in this video. There were more on my list, but I whittled it down to just a nice little number. If you're really interested, maybe I'll do some more. Even though we've chosen a name for our daughter, I still look at names and think about names and put new names on my list and take names off and stuff. And I've done that for years. I've had a baby name list for a long time, way before I was pregnant, and I think that's a very good idea. Unless you have always known, like ever since you were a kid, this is what my son or daughter will be called, I think it's a good idea to get a head start on it, because it can be way harder and more pressure than you imagine. I know some people make deals, you name the boy, I name the girl, you name this one, I'll name the next one kind of thing, but we wanted to both really love the name, which did make it more difficult and frustrating sometimes when there was a name that I would really love and he wasn't interested, or a name he was dead set on and I just did not like. That's something that I really, really noticed when picking names, is just how much of an imprint it makes on you and how you feel about a name if you know someone with that name, or you have known someone, and what you think about that person, what kind of person they were. You realise how many people you don't like when you start picking baby names. Even with people you do like, it's weird because there's names I like, but I know people with children with those names, or I have friends with those names, so it just doesn't feel like I can use that name because in my brain that is another person. But we got there in the end, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you some ideas if you're thinking about baby names, or you just enjoyed hearing some nice words. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye.